Welcome to another episode of Going with the Flow. I'm your host, Lucas Salino, and today I'm joined with Garrett Brown, one of our HVAC technicians.
Yes, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, welcome, Garrett. So, Garrett, let's start off. How did you find Salino?
So I guess I'll start in the beginning. I finished high school and went to ECC. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Went to UB, got a business degree. Still, even during that process, I was always looking at trade-based jobs. Just knew business wasn't really what I wanted to do, but all my friends went to college, so you're 17, you just kind of go with the flow. And worked in business for a little bit and just couldn't do it anymore, so I just started scrolling around jobs, debated going back to school for a trade, found Salino, and they had an apprentice program, which was super helpful for getting in the door, and applied online, and been almost 2 years now involved in this life, I guess, now.
Yeah, no, so if I remember correctly, we hired you once and you took another job and then you ended up coming back.
That's correct.
What ended up happening? What changed your mind on coming back?
So I was looking at another company and I thought the benefits were better, but I guess looking back on it was not the right decision for me. Nothing bad or anything. Just I really enjoy what I do now, and I'm really thankful I was able to come back, I guess, and take it on, because seeing different things every day, not going to the same place, seeing the same machine or, whatever it is that you do, this is just every day is different, and it keeps you engaged a lot.
Yeah, no,
a lot more.
Right when I met you, I knew you had a lot of potential, and I knew you'd be great at this. And I think there's a misconception that a lot of people that get in the trades or go to trade school even do that because they're not smart enough for college. And I think you're the perfect example of, it's just somebody that wants to do something different, that wants, to go to, job to job, not be in the same spot and use their hands.
Yeah, definitely. I think just the perception that you don't have to be maybe book smart in the trades is definitely false, in my opinion. I think we have really smart people at Salino, from the top down, and going to college, it's great. It helps you be more personable. I would never say don't do it, but for me, I should not have done it, and I wish I got right into the trades right away, so I didn't have kind of a late start, but it's never really too late in my opinion. So yeah, I think Ed went to school to be a teacher. Dylan went for marketing. A lot of us have college degrees, but we just enjoy the different things, working with your hands, using tools. And there's so much more mental thought to this than actual physical sometimes, that just having that thought process, though, that you don't need school for, but it does kind of help develop it. It always pays off, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm a believer, and I wouldn't say I'm a believer in everyone going to college. I do think they push that way too much. However, I think there's good experience out of that, and that you've come in and you started as an HVAC, as an apprentice, and you quickly became a maintenance tech, and then you became a service tech, which we'll dive into. But I do think part of you graduating is moving up so quick is you're a little bit older, you have a little more life experience, but also going to school does build some of that skill set.
Definitely, and I think one of the things that we have company meetings every month, you talk about the status of the company, and going to business school, I kind of have a better understanding of why we do things the way we do from a business perspective. I don't see that end of it, but it helps me, I think, be a better tech for the company and customers. Just having a general overview, I guess, of what you're trying to accomplish, everybody in the office is trying to accomplish, and just helps everything flow a little bit better.
Yeah, now certainly one of my goals is always to try and explain why we're doing something, not, hey, this is what we're doing. It is difficult. I think it's something that we don't do very well. I don't think anybody really does very well. But yeah, trying to explain, a lot of times it's deep into the financials, certain margins, and it's hard to push and say, we got to get here. But somebody with a background or even some more understanding would grasp that concept definitely stronger. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I actually got to sit in with a distributor meeting yesterday and kind of understood the margins and everything that Aaron, my direct manager for HVAC, is trying to accomplish. And with the way the technology is changing, people might be getting ahead here, but hesitant with the higher end Sears and dual fuel systems. But understanding like the pricing and the rebates and everything that come with it, you're doing a disservice to the customer to not offer them. And now that I understand a little bit more of the back end and everything, I think it makes me also better when I'm trying or working towards a sale for a customer.
Yeah, certainly. Well, why don't we dive into just your growth through Cellino then? So you came as an apprentice. Why don't you just give us like a quick look of what that was like? Maybe what a day kind of a typical day was like. Then going to maintenance, going from there, and then all the way to service tech where you're at now.
Yeah, so start as an apprentice. Basically, you don't always know what you're doing when you get to the shop that day. It's whoever needs a hand, doing shop stuff, cleaning, organizing, building a fence. Tony has a lot of ideas and projects for you. I started right when we were trying to get everybody to one location. So we were framing walls in, painting, cleaning out the White House that's now mostly an office and storage area. So you do a lot of that, but then you also go with a plumber if they need a hand, HVAC installs if they need a hand, and you're learning. A lot of it is handing somebody the tools they need, getting equipment out of the truck, stuff along those lines. I think the most time I spent with somebody was Dylan, riding with him and just learning. I grew up in a shop working on cars, and you start sweeping the floor, doing whatever, and you're not learning anything, you think, but you're watching everything happen. And then when somebody says, "Oh, I need this," you know where it is, you get it, and you can do it for them or lend a hand. And that's kind of what the apprentice program does. You're learning, but you're not always doing like the full job yourself. So that was helpful because people ask me plumbing questions all the time. I'm not a plumber, HVAC service, but now that I went on some jobs, I can kind of lay the groundwork or explain things well to a customer and be like, if you do have more questions, call us get a plumber out here for you. But it puts customers' mind at ease when you've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I truly believe there's a skill to being a good apprentice. Are you on top of it? It's how much are you really taking in, and the more that you're taking in, not only the quicker you're going to grow, the more helpful you're going to be as you can anticipate that next move, and that to me is a way to show that you're really catching on, you're really understanding the concept.
Yeah, I think it was just funny to me. One of the plumbers I was working with needed his impact, and the bit wasn't in it, so I put the bit in it and handed it to him, and he looked at me, he's like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can't just hand you an impact with nothing in it. You can't do anything that way. So little things like that, if you're not familiar with tools, it can be overwhelming, but I grew up with tools. So for me, it was very plug and play, grab this size socket, whatever. And I knew what I was looking for, and always put guys' tools back where they had them in their van, keep things organized for them is definitely a way to gain trust with whoever you're working with. Because no one wants to spend time searching for tools when you're trying to get a job done, go to the next one or end your day.
Sure. So from there you became a maintenance technician. So you're basically just doing, tune-ups, repetitive tasks, but you do have your own truck and you're going job to job. What did that transition look like? Were you nervous when you first started? How long until you really felt comfortable completing the tune-ups?
So yeah, I remember I was at the Sheridan shop. You were, I think, with Brendan and Aaron maybe, and I was going to ride with Dylan, and I walked by and you're like, "Hey, it's like Aaron grabbed me," and you're like, "Do you think you're ready to go on your own and do maintenance?" And I felt comfortable, but the day leading up to it, you're in your own van, you're independent, you're going to the customer yourself. It's a little bit overwhelming, but you fall into it pretty quick because the tune-ups are very systematic. So you're not really walking into something you don't know. The form that we have for our checklist is follow along pretty much. and you get into that routine pretty quick. I don't really know when I felt comfortable fully, but it definitely took some time just explaining things and learning the language to use with customers is a little bit different, you know, when you're on your own. And when you run into something, the maintenance tech position is to preventative maintenance. So you don't always know if something's wrong as to why, because it's an entry level spot in the HVAC field. So you learn a lot, but when something was kind of wrong, it was awkward to not be able to explain it well to the customer. But that's also the growing and learning of the process. And I got comfortable pretty quick with that. And then next thing you know, it's furnace season. So you got to learn the furnace process and the boilers. I always joke and like to myself that heating and cooling is a job, but there's 3 or 4 subsets to it. And we're just starting in furnace season now. So kind of got to relearn things for yourself almost, or change your mind. But yeah, the maintenance is just a good way to learn and just practice different things, try things out. And then, I started in service sometime last winter. I don't remember exactly. That was probably the most overwhelmed I felt for the first month or so.
Yeah. No, and you're walking into a no heat is very different than a furnace that is working. And if there is an issue, we're lead flipping, you're getting a service tech out there. But when you are the service tech, certainly still have that capability, but you're now expected to go there and diagnose and resolve the issue.
Yeah, and people ask you immediately, do you think you can fix it? And I'm like, I'm not even downstairs yet.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a big learning curve with both, but I think the steps from the maintenance give you the groundwork to start on the service side. I mean, essentially, you can go back and look at the tune-up form and be like, okay, what is not working on this form, on this furnace, and find the problem. So it's a good way to start. I would recommend anyone who wants to get into this field, take some time in maintenance. Don't rush yourself to service. Be patient, because it's a big step to go to service, and it can be overwhelming very quickly.
Yeah, oh, certainly. Now, as far as now you've been running service for a while, what do you enjoy more, the heating season or the cooling season?
I like the cooling season personally. I like to be outside, and it's pretty nice in Buffalo in the summertime, so you kind of can sit next to an air conditioner, do your thing, you're just feeling the sun and everything. It's nice. Furnace season's fun. I think it's more mechanical, so I do enjoy that part of it. And there's a lot more pressure with it. Especially if you're on call, supply houses are closed or something, you try and do something to get somebody the heat that they need, but you can't always have that ability. So you do have to be creative sometimes to try and get the customer some comfort. But there's more pressure, in my opinion, when it comes to furnace season of trying to figure it out. No one wants to be without heat for a day or two, so you try and have to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah, no, and there's, hundreds of different furnace brands, along with, each year they have to retool and remodel it to meet certain specs. So we'll often get asked, like, do they have these parts on the truck? And there's absolutely no way you can have all of these parts for it. We carry some universal parts, but yeah, I certainly understand that frustration. You're going to a customer that might be frustrated or, cold, maybe they have a sick, in-law living there and they want that heat on, and on call can be very difficult.
Yeah, then it's kind of awkward because you're like, well, I can tell you what the problem is, but I'll be back Monday to fix it or something. But that's part of it. And most people are very understanding of that. I always try to relate it to cars. Everybody has a car. So we can't just, you take your Ford vehicle to a Ford dealership, a Chevy to a Chevy, just because parts don't fit each furnace.
Yeah.
So just try and bring it back to simpler terms for people that everybody understands, and then they become very understanding. At first, there is some kind of frustration sometimes.
What's more difficult to deal with, a hard furnace or let's say a boiler, something that like a difficult actual piece of equipment, or the customer?
That's a good question. I don't mind the customers as much. I think usually you can explain yourself. As long as you can explain everything and take somebody through the steps, they become understanding a lot easier. I use pictures. We take pictures of everything, and it's very easy to go through the pictures. And then they're like, okay, if you just come upstairs and say, oh yeah, it's broke. I'll be back to fix it when the part comes in. No one's going to take that well. So if you show them or show them pictures or videos, they are very understanding. A furnace can be very frustrating. It can drive you crazy. You can get lost in that little 18-inch box quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd say the equipment can be pretty frustrating, but most of the time people are very understanding, and you do get a couple that can be frustrating, but the majority of the time it's not bad. I think people like Cellino a lot in this area. So I think working for a good company also carries some weight for when somebody gets frustrated.
Yeah, no, and we've even seen that with, we started electrical. We were worried about keeping, we got an electrician on board, and, are we going to be able to keep him busy all the time? We quickly realized, we have such great customer lists and following that we need about 3 more electricians without even advertising it. So, yeah, no, we definitely have a great following, great customer base that helps us out.
Yeah, and then I think also just having good office staff, our dispatch team, it just helps everything. And when customers are frustrated, having a good office staff is critical. They can, talk through it and everything. So it does happen, but it's really not that bad, quite honestly.
Yeah, no, it's certainly a team game. Is what we've learned over the last 30 years. It's from the first phone call to the tech leaving there, we got to have quality all throughout. So it's the tech is a big part of it, but there is a whole lot of back end work that we need to give a good experience.
Yeah, I get compliments all the time. People like Joanne in the office, they're like, "Oh, she was so great. I'm glad you guys could get out here quickly." And like I said, it goes from the top down. I was just doing a generator maintenance. We didn't have the stuff in to do it yesterday, so we did it today. He was like, "Oh, so great." Juan called and let me know, so I wasn't waiting around all day for you guys to just cancel. We tried to do it once we knew the parts weren't going to be in.
Yeah.
So that pays off a lot and helps us as well. It takes some stress off of me.
Sure. Now, I know when you started in maintenance, you got we do a truck wrap every year. We wrap a truck with a certain nonprofit. That winter was Sophia the Fierce.
Yes.
So you were driving around one of our different colored trucks other than red. It was gold. What was that experience like?
It was cool. So what Cellino does a ton with nonprofits, which is really cool. And the Sophia the Fierce truck was yellow, gold, had some kids on the side of it and stuff. So it stood out a lot more than any other van I think we have. Maybe the pink one might be up there with it. So it was really cool because each tune-up I did, a portion of that money went towards their foundation. So you felt really good about yourself, quite honestly, with each tune-up you did. And people complimented it all the time. It was a very easy talking point. And we got a lot of calls through working with them, like customers wanted to work with us. So it was very cool. You forget about it after a little while. And then somebody's like, "Oh, do you mind, why is your van yellow compared to the others?" Then you can talk about it with them. And I forget where I was. I think I was parked in a Tops parking lot one time. And this lady pulled up and was taking a picture. And I was like thinking I was doing something wrong, parked the wrong way. And she goes, she was a family member of Sophia. And she's like, "We've heard about this van. We saw it at the unveil and I haven't seen it driving around yet. So this is just really cool." And that was a good feeling as well. Just, it made her day, quite honestly.
Yeah, we've done it, I think 8 or 9 times now. And we keep hearing that over and over. And, these nonprofits, they don't have a huge budget to allocate to marketing. So not only do we donate part of the funds from that tune-up, but getting their name out there, I think, is super important. And it's good that you get to see firsthand that sort of respect and appreciation that they have for it.
Yeah, it was cool. And it also, I think we do an incredible job of marketing, and it really showed because red and blue are our colors, and everyone would just be like, "Why is your van yellow?" But that's how good our main branding is, that it's noticeable when we do something different.
Yep.
So I think it does pay off for each year for the truck wrap. If you're a non-for-profit, get in on it, because I saw firsthand how much of a talking point it was.
Yeah, I think our marketing team's quite sick of me saying red truck, logo, and dog on everything.
Yeah.
So those are 3 things. But yeah, the red truck is certainly what we're known for.
Yes.
So, Garrett, let's just talk into the future here a little bit. So, I've been a service tech now for less than a year. 3 to 4 years out, what do you hope to learn, work on, or where do you hope to grow or see your career go?
So definitely I want to improve on heat pumps and boilers, high efficiency boilers. That's the new technology. Becoming a service tech can be overwhelming at first, so you kind of got to set small goals for yourself. And for the next year or two is to just get better at the new technical equipment coming out and improve on that.
It's tough and it's always changing.
It's like a never ending race, but that's definitely something I want to focus on. Find courses. I watch videos at home, stuff along those lines. It sounds kind of corny to say, but I'd like to be kind of where Dylan is in 4 years or so. He's one of our other techs and incredible tech, great sales attitude, great with customers. So I'd like to work towards that goal. I'd like to beat him 1 month
Love it.
somehow. So that's kind of my goal. And then eventually I really would like to somehow do something with apprentices, create like a train-in platform or something where they get to see a little bit of everything, which we do now, but maybe
Formalized more.
yeah, something like that. Because I really enjoyed that process myself. And I think there's a large benefit to training somebody efficiently so that they can get out on their own faster and become a really good tech. It's like there's a lot of young guys at Celino. I'm 27, but they're early 20s. And it's pretty exciting to see what some of them are doing already. And I would like to kind of grow something like that.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I hear it over and over. A lot of guys that especially ones that came here without the skill set, are always kind of gravitate towards how can I help others improve and get there.
Yeah, it's Tyler, who's helping Tyler, the master electrician.
Sure.
He's growing pretty quick. I had him with me for a couple jobs, and hearing him talk about now that he's fully into the electrical side, he's excited about it, and it's fun for me to hear. Like I don't have any connection to him,
Yeah,
but
the excitement's contagious
yeah,
too, right?
And I kind of remember that too for myself when I got paired up with Dylan to ride with him for a summer. I was like, this is my opportunity. And like it's kind of exciting to see other people get that because I remember how it felt to be like, this is my chance to learn. I got what I essentially wanted. Now you have to capitalize on it. So seeing hopefully the growth of those guys capitalizing on their opportunities is just a fun feeling to see. I don't know why. I just kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, oh, certainly. The last thing I wanted to hit on today would be National Fuel rebates are set to end at the end of 2025. They did just actually boost a lot of them up to get some sales. What do you think is going to happen with this? How do you see the industry changing? How do you see what we're offering? I guess just give me your initial thoughts on it.
I'm very hesitant to say what's going to happen just with the new builds per se. And I think we're going to see an effect, but it's going to happen 5-10 years down the road where we're going to fix all electric equipment, which is not something any of us really do right now because it's just not common in Buffalo. So it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting. And just like we talked about with everything changing and me trying to learn, that goalpost just got set further. But it did for everybody else as well. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. Going to be growing pains for homeowners as well as us. So hopefully they're understanding of that. But it'll be a fun challenge. And the rebates right now are incredible. So if you are interested in a new furnace air conditioning, capitalize on it because you get a really high efficiency rated system for the same price almost as your standard furnace air conditioner. So capitalize on those because we offer those packages for a reason, not just to sell the most expensive thing we have, but because if we sell you something baseline and you find out you could have gotten 2 tiers above that for the same price 3 months later, people get upset. But they're really great systems, so I would encourage anyone to look at dual fuel systems right now and use the rebates.
Yeah, dual fuel made up about 90% of our sales this year, last time I checked. And part of that is you get the $2,500 rebate right from National Fuel. It's $2,500 now. It was $2,000. Then you get another tax credit, which is about $2,000. So that savings makes it cheaper than our AC. And Aaron put one in his house, and he said his electric bill is like cut in half.
Well, so I was always having a hard time explaining to people the difference because everyone asks for a specific number, like how much is this going to save me? And obviously it depends on your home, your usage. I mean, if you have a sauna in your house or something and you run it all the time, I can't tell you your electric bill is going to decrease because that's something else. But yeah, the curve that you save over time with these high efficiency systems is going to be quite a bit.
Well, especially as kilowatt cost continues to rise.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I got my electric bill and was a little floored. So I think it's just a long-term savings as well. It's kind of hard to quantify for people, but I always encourage people to go on YouTube, watch video on heat pumps because there is some hesitancy with it. But once you see the video and kind of go through everything, they're not any different than what most people had in their homes 5 years ago or now. The heat pumps they're really efficient, they're quiet, and they do a lot of good. And with the rebates, there's no reason to not take advantage of it now. It's free money in your pocket, basically.
Yeah, no, it's an awesome product. I'm glad that we jumped on them. I know we're one of the companies that sell the most of those and offer those. So certainly sad to see it go away, but so we will adjust and find whatever the best products and offerings are for customers in the future.
Yeah, I think we're probably one of the most proactive companies when it comes to looking around, trying to find things that fit for the customer and us the best. I know Aaron's always talking to distributors and stuff, and I'm sure you are, and I'm sure Justin is with plumbing. We use Rinnai now, and we're always trying to be proactive about the lines we carry. So it's definitely going to be a bit of an adjustment next year, but I think once somebody has a heat pump and sees their bill go down, they will stick with one for the most part.
Yeah, certainly. Garrett, is there anything else that I missed that you'd want to talk about?
I would say if you're interested in getting into the trade, just kind of a couple things. Don't be afraid. It can be, like I said, I grew up working on cars, everything like that. So tools were not unfamiliar for me, but working in somebody else's house is definitely a different feeling. It's not, if I mess this up in my house, I run to Home Depot, get it taken care of. You're a professional. So minimize your mistakes, but they're going to happen. Just make sure you get everything taken care of when you can. If you're going to do it, watch some YouTube, TikTok, whatever, just so you kind of know what you're getting into. It's nothing crazy. It's not scary, but you do have to work sometimes past 4:00. And that's great. Like, I don't have an issue with that, but I know some people don't always like that aspect of it, but it's a great career. Heating and cooling was the perfect fit for me. And I think electrical, that we're adding that is a great component. So don't think you have to go to school for it. If you already went to college, you're going to use your college skills in some aspect. Don't think it's a waste of money. And just enjoy the journey because you're going to learn every day, and it's going to be really overwhelming at first, but just take it day by day at a time and find somebody that is willing to invest in you as like kind of a trainee, and use them and be grateful for them and just be as useful as you can to that person because it'll pay off for you down the road big time.
Yeah, no, I think it's all great advice. And, the part of you mentioning like working in somebody's basement's different. Like that's stuff that I don't really realize as I've just grown up doing it. But I think that's a great point.
Yeah, it's a little weird at first because like I said, I was used to doing everything on my own. And then I'm like, it's a weird feeling. I can't really explain it, but yeah, you grew up doing this. So for you, it's no different. When you go from doing things yourself, you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But then you're in the professional line and you're like, it kind of knocks your confidence down a little bit, but once you start doing it, then you're right back to where you want it to be.
Certainly. Garrett, well, thank you for joining another episode of Going with the Flow. Hope to follow up and see you accomplish some of those goals.
Sounds good. Thank you.